This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff plus Alex
That's me.
without any of the other homies.
No other homies today.
No other
No
homies.
homies.
So for those that are watching any of this on YouTube, you'll see that in Nate's spot is an airplane because he and Sam are on an airplane to Florida
Not a rocket ship, but an airplane.
en route to a cruise.
To be on a boat.
They will be on a boat, and today is Monday, April 17th. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. I am Muff, person trying to steer this rudderless ship. Joining me is the Ohio Homer, the Ohio Degenerate, in the future, Ohio, I don't know, you can make that up. Spring game discusser of today, Jim.
Hello.
Also is with us is Alex, the medical degenerate, the degenerate of all things medicinal, excited for the things that you want Alex to talk about. And
I think he'll talk about them.
I'll talk about them.
character extraordinaire.
I don't
He
use
just
them.
will not inhale.
Yeah, I just let it swirl around my mouth. That's me.
Okay. For the new listeners, we are a sports show talking about all of, well, not all of, but the things that we found interesting in sports over the past week. We typically have weekly episodes, although in the offseason of football, sometimes that is a little bit more, less often. We also do sports betting shows. Again, we're out of sports betting season for us, which is football and the NCAA basketball tournament. But we are here to chat about some sports today. As a reminder, always you can follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff W/Jim Emerson Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Tickle. Get the bell on.
Bing.
The little jig.
little jig.
I don't know. I can put that one.
Hello, loyal listeners. Don't forget to subscribe to Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, plus Alex, plus Nate and Sam, or any other guests we may have on the show. Thank you for listening. This is Jim.
And I think that prompted last week for us to chat about maybe an Alex movie review in the future.
Oh,
It
yeah, I'll
did.
get that
I forgot.
up.
Yep, Pulp Fiction.
We did not put a deadline on you, Alex. This
We
was
did not.
We were going to start talking about this, so in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes, yeah. We'll get there.
Alex, for those that do not know, Alex somehow has made it through life without watching some of the most fundamental classic movies.
Yeah.
I think the important thing to note is that I'm also slightly younger than Jim and Muff, so I think that what was important
I
to
don't know why we
watch,
had to bring that up.
because I think it's important to note here that the movies that were very pertinent in your, high school age are a little different than the ones that were mine. But I'm willing to catch up.
Is it time to talk hockey?
Nope. I think we just
rip that Band-Aid off.
Let's just move on. All right, next one.
We're gonna have to talk a little bit about hockey.
I know.
Unfortunately, the Pittsburgh Penguins' 16-year run
16
in the playoffs has ended, and a new streak has begun for a team in the Northwest.
I forget how many years it's been, but this is apparently the first year in Pittsburgh sports, 2022, the Pirates, which wasn't shocking, and the Steelers and the Penguins, nobody made the playoffs. And I don't like to say that to Jim, but I feel like as a sports show, you have to say the good and the bad. Roughly.
So here's the thing, I'm not gonna beat on it, because I feel like if this was the Steelers missing and it was broke a giant streak, I'd be like, yes. But I got nothing against the Penguins.
That's fair.
I actually kind of feel bad.
Well, the Penguins have something against the Penguins because they fire sale in the front office.
Yes.
After the season was over.
They brought the heat, huh?
Everybody could get some. The Ron Hextall, anybody really that had anything to do with player.
Yeah, it was the GM,
moves.
associate GM, front of house. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. With the team that they have, I know they're getting older, but you still have Sid, Gino, Letang. You got to be doing better.
Got to be better.
Columbus fired their coach, so the firings went worldwide.
Was that in how long did they have that coach? 2 years?
2 years.
You either make something of it or you don't.
That's it.
All right, Jim. What's the preview look like for the Kraken in the first
Well, that's
round?
what I was trying to look up. I can't find what the Kraken are gonna do.
The Krakens play Colorado
Colorado,
Tuesday.
10 o'clock on the Espen.
Yeah,
We talked about this, Jim. ESPN, ABC. You're gonna get all the games.
they're
Super
a.
excited for
If
that.
you want to stay up till 10 p.m. on a Tuesday,
Yeah. I might record it,
yeah, that'd be a good idea.
try to
I mean-
avoid seeing it.
I mean, it'll be easier to avoid. I feel like if you just because of where you're at.
Yeah, I might do that. In fact, I'm gonna do that. I don't see Seattle making it out much.
I mean, there are 7 playing a 2.
Yeah,
This is the NHL playoffs. This is totally different than
Yeah.
most other sports.
I was just gonna say. I mean, crazier things have happened.
then they play again Thursday, 9:30.
Yeah, you can get ready for about every other day.
Yeah, and they're all gonna be.
But
in
I'm like the
South
9:30
Carolina
time's not
right
bad.
Right.
So there's hope. There's hope that I can see, some Kraken games, and maybe they beat the Avalanche.
You need to let Alex and I know if you DVR it or
Yeah.
record it. That way we do not spoil an ending for you if you really
I will
want
tell you right
to.
now, I'm going to DVR it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to DVR it at least this first round. If they win, I might try to watch the rest of them live, but I'm going to DVR the first round.
That's fair.
Some other hockey news.
Hockey, what's up?
I don't know. Just
Oh yeah, the
Look through-
firefighter
yeah.
versus cop.
We had the New York Fire Department and the New York police officers playing in I guess this is an annual thing. Like this isn't
Yes.
new. But Barstool covered it live and did like a whole thing around it, which was pretty cool that they got, I think it's the first time they've done anything this like grandiose
Yeah.
around the event. So they were streaming it live through like Barstool TV, which is a free stream if you really wanted to watch it. The fire department was dominant in both the hockey game as well as in the fights that made their way.
fisticuffs.
Yeah,
For sure.
this isn't abnormal, right? This is one of those rivalries that you expect. But it was cool. I didn't really watch any of it live. I just saw some of the highlights that came after the fact, most of which were about fighting.
Yeah.
But still cool that's a traditional game and it still happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was good. It was good. It was good fisticuffs. It was nice.
These are regular people getting into fisticuffs.
I
Right?
said it is kind of like the kids that take gym class a little too seriously,
Yeah, that was funny.
but it was
fine.
but it was entertaining for us.
You guys seen these Stanley Cups? Oh hell.
Oh,
Quite literally a Stanley Cup.
yes. When we're talking about hockey, yes, I have seen the Stanley Cup. So as good as everyone talks about, Jim.
Bro, I bought 2 of them for my wife for her birthday,
Mhm.
and they keep things so cold.
And that's why you're using it now. Is that like pink with a green handle?
No, it's steel
Oh, okay.
with a green handle.
Oh, okay. It looked like I had a pink hue from here.
No,
I
that's
was
just
thinking
my
it was
face.
thinking it was
No.
blue.
You think that's blue? Let the internet decide. Pink or blue or green.
TBD.
All right, what's next, Muff?
Get on there and look at Jim Stanley's cup.
Look at my Stanley Cup. Is it blue? Is it green?
Another matchups in the first round of the NHL playoffs with the Islanders taking on the Hurricanes, the Panthers taking on the Bruins, the Wild taking on the Stars, and the Kings taking on the Oilers.
We are a betting show. Have we just seen like what the odds are for the winner?
Rangers
Let's
taking
take
on
a
the
look. Hold on.
Devils, Lightning taking on the Maple Leafs, the Jets taking on the Golden Knights, Jim, and the Kraken taking on the Avalanche.
Oh, yeah, I forgot we have Vegas in there. I might drop Vegas
Like as a team.
as a team. It might happen.
So you just like the Kraken then?
And I think my fandom might just be one way.
Wow.
You just remember this if you ever come back to either of those teams.
I know. That's why I'm not totally dropping them yet.
Okay, well, you've dropped Columbus.
I have dropped Columbus.
You've put that in stone.
Yeah. So the odds, the Bruins are obviously plus 340.
Mhm.
So the teams that I have Las Vegas plus 1,200.
Mm-hmm.
The Kraken plus 4,000.
What you get being a 7 seed?
I kind of want to put like $10 down.
To win. How much would you win, Jim?
400.
Yeah,
Yeah, in that case,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, victory for me.
I know.
In that
I'm
case,
very
yes.
proud of you, Jim.
Yeah. If you put down 100, you'd win 4,000.
Yeah. Look at me, Muff. Learning math.
Are they a dog, Jim?
Yeah. No.
Yes.
Yes.
They're a money line dog probably in every game and definitely in their series as a 7 seed.
Yeah, probably. Yes.
But
Yeah.
actually, I think in hockey, this is called a puck line dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say Buckline.
So we got that going on. Real quick into baseball. The Pittsburgh Pirates are still competitive.
They are 9-7. They lost in extras today. The Cardinals.
They lost in extras on Sunday and they won in extras on Saturday. Which, the fact that they're still competitive within the division at this point in the season, and I understand at this point in the season we're like an eighth of the way through.
16
But
games.
well, about
Maybe a 10th.
Maybe a little bit less, maybe a ninth.
That's okay.
So
We are third in the NL Central.
The Reds still suck.
We're only 2 games back behind the Cubs and Brewers, or behind the Brewers, I guess.
Am I right to say that the
like a half
Reds
game.
literally have the worst record in the National League?
The Reds?
Yeah.
No,
They don't?
you're not right. No, the Reds are 6-8. The Rockies are 5-11. The Giants
They're
are
6-9.
Oh,
okay. I got you.
But
yeah, they're one.
The Rockies are 5-11. The Nationals are 5-11. The Phillies are 5-10.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, you. They're not there yet, Jim.
They're actually the worst team.
They are the best worst team. The second best worst team in all of baseball.
Cool.
So we'll see. We'll see what the Pirates win. I think the Pirates lost another pitcher this week.
Yeah.
They lost. That's the problem, right? Even the Pirates are competitive.
It was the 5th in our rotation. I mean, it still stinks, that Brubaker guy, but
that's one of those things, right? The Pirates can't withstand many injuries. To their
why wouldn't you
starters.
just be like, you know what? Spend our money now. Like, we got somebody hurt. We got tons of money. Spend it.
questions we've asked for how many years now, Muff?
Pretty much the majority of my life.
Yep.
I just don't get it.
In all of my life. Going back to
my life has been, why do the Pirates not just spend money? Right? We bring back Andrew McCutcheon, which is like, hey, everybody's happy. And then it's like, oh, this is still the same old Pirates. We just brought back an older Andrew McCutcheon.
Ugh.
The only reason we didn't bring back AJ Burnett is because he ain't coming back.
Right.
All right. Well, that takes us through a little bit of some.
You know what we haven't talked about before you start moving?
Yeah.
Shohei.
He's still doing Shohei things.
Is he? Because I haven't heard much. He's not on the highlight reels as of late.
Let's do a quick little check-in on his stats.
That's your dude. I mean, he's almost a guy of the show.
He's a guy. So he's only hitting 288 so far this year. He has 9 RBIs, 15 hits, and let's take a look at his pitching stats. They have talked about limiting him even more so in pitching this year, which is going to be a necessary evil because, remember, with all this clock stuff and everything, it's going to be more taxing on him to be pitching. So he's only started 1 game so far this year, 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, 5 walks, 6 strikeouts.
All right.
So he's his lone pitching performance has been good. He has 1 home run thus far, it would appear. And the Angels, I don't think, are doing really well as a team. So a little update on Shohei Ohtani. But yeah, let's get into some football chat. The USFL started this past weekend.
That's where we start with the football chat. All right. USFL.
Sorry, it's
I mean,
very
it's,
windy.
it's professional football.
Sure.
I watched a game yesterday where
Games.
DeAndre Johnson was starting. DeAndre Johnson of Last Chance U fame, or Last Chance U, I won't say fame, but he was in Last Chance U.
Hey?
He's infamous for some things he did when he was at Florida State, but was in Last Chance U for a reason. He started. I saw they interviewed this guy who tore his Achilles in the game and was he's gonna be out for the season at this point. They interviewed him on the sideline and obviously in an emotional state after he came out of the locker room in like a hoodie, and they just started to ask him like these questions such as, "Oh, so like, how emotional is this for you, knowing that all of the work you've put in to get to this point is now going to be gone for the year?" Like, put him on the spot. Yeah, Fox was doing it. Kurt Menefee, Joel Klatt were like the guys announcing it. So I don't know. It wasn't terrible football to watch, but it wasn't the worst.
Well, the Pittsburgh Maulers are playing the New Orleans Breakers right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
So
What's the score?
12-9.
In favor
Pittsburgh?
of
No.
No.
Nollins. Nollins is winning.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where the USFL ends up after this year. It looks like they're trying to do some things. I thought it was really interesting watching this game. The drones just flying around the field.
Yeah.
Like, there were times I was watching, I was like, "Whoa, that seems to be very close to things."
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to shift gears on you, but NASCAR was using drones in the Bristol race for caution flags. And I was like, uh-oh, it's like the robots are taking over, man.
Did
Now
they,
it's all over.
did they like have a flag on the drone?
Yeah, so it dropped down like the drone would fly. For those of you watching on YouTube, the drone would fly carrying a square light,
Mm.
and the light would have the yellow light on it.
I mean, it's a good use of the drone.
Yeah, very creative.
So, other than that, for the USFL, nothing else stood out to me. It was football. I got to watch the football.
Sure.
I will say it is funny how like the noise of like football distracts me still. Like I was on the treadmill at the gym today, and as soon as I like heard football coming from a TV over there, I was like, huh?
Football, where?
And I was like, oh. And then I watched a brief bit of it. I couldn't tell you that the TV in front of me didn't have sound, so I was just kind of watching.
You just saw football.
Yeah, I just was watching football. I don't even know who was playing. I couldn't tell you what the teams were, but football was on. Felt happy.
Well, in the NFL, it was kind of a pretty ho-hum week in the NFL world, right? We're kind of just gearing up for the draft at this point. Haven't heard much in the way of any more discussion about number one pick or anything like that. So, have you guys heard anything of interest in the NFL world?
The latest mock draft I saw was Bryce Young would go 1, CJ would go 2 to the Texans. Anthony Richards would go 3 to the Colts.
So it has the Colts hanging on to that pick.
Yeah. And
no, it has the Colts trading up to that pick for Carolina from Arizona.
So they swap picks.
Yeah, the trade somewhere.
Yeah, they would. I see it. They switched.
Mhm.
Yep. But the big talk of this particular article is that Jackson Smith and Jigba
Mm-hmm.
would also go to the Texans. So it would kind of be the package deal for CJ.
Yeah. So
this is from CBS, not a Ohio State Homer article. Just so we're clear.
It's not from 11 Warriors.
No.
Okay. So we're on draft, and then we'll talk a little bit about some ownership discussions that are going on. For our respective favorite teams, what do we hope that they take? And we'll just say in the first few rounds, what are some needs that we think our teams collectively have? We'll start with the Steelers for Alex and I, so Jim has a second to think about this. The Steelers have kind of did a wholesale outgoing of their linebacking core, at least their middle linebackers, but they've brought in talent. They brought in people. They signed some offseason acquisitions in that way. As far as the Steelers, Alex, what are we thinking they need to bolster? I'm going to put out one. I think they need to find a young defensive line talent, like an interior, because Cam Hayward's can't go on forever.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, I'm interested to see what they do with the rebuild on the linebacker core. I mean, if we have our running back situation's good, our quarterback situation could be good, our wide receiver situation could be good if Deontay Johnson catches the ball. I mean, him and George Pickens are good. We have our tight end, offensive line.
Right, it started to gel a little bit towards the end of the year. So
at the end of the year, because that would have been my go-to if you'd asked me before they kind of started to click along. So I'm going to want to see if they keep that network that they built, or does it need some love? But I'm just interested in seeing how they rebuild the defense a little bit, and if our offense can like piece together all of the.
Yeah, I think an interior defensive lineman, pick up another skill player, a wide receiver, and then after that, I think you're just looking for best available. Maybe somebody else in the defensive backfield, maybe another safety to put some more personnel on that backside of the defense. So those are my initial thoughts. Jim, how are you feeling about Chargers? Is that what we're going to go with first?
Yeah, well, that's the only team. This year, I'm going to start narrowing down some shit. So I'm going to stick with the Chargers as my team.
All right.
The Chargers need some specialist help. We need probably a wide receiver first round. A good. I'm not even going to say at Ohio State. I don't care who it is, as long as they're good. That's what they need. So it's a straight 7 pick. They don't have any other extra picks. Second round, they're going to need to pick up the best cornerback or safety they can get their hands on. Third round, I would say cornerback or safety again. But knowing the Chargers, I could see them picking up a defensive end. Then I would say that fourth round, they need to pick up a tight end. That's what I would do if I was the Chargers. Herbert needs some weapons. The defensive secondary needs some help. That's what I would do with my first 4 picks.
All right. Nate for the Bucks, not here. Nate's on a jet plane, but he is going to Florida.
He's thinking about it, though.
Oh, he's got in his mind what the Bucks need. I think there's many things the Bucks may need this year.
Yeah.
To be very competitive. So TBD on how that ends up. As far as other football news, we have spring games that started this past weekend in college football.
Ownership?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, ownership. The Washington Commanders are in the process of Dan Snyder and the Mrs. Snyders in considering offers from at this point. Initially it came out there was going to be a sale, and then it came out, oh wait, there's another ownership group that may be interested from Canada. Initially it came out that there was going to be a about $6 billion sale to a group that was led by Philadelphia 76ers owner Josh Harris. The group also included Magic Johnson and Mitchell Rales. That was sort of the initial reports that came out. And then it was, wait, this isn't happening that quickly. There may be another suitor involved.
Well, it's not going to be easy with Dan Snyder.
Right. But six billion plus, like, he's still making out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let's not get it twisted here. So we'll see where it goes. And $2 billion. Steve Apostolopoulos is the other.
3 times fast.
Yeah, is the other Canadian billionaire.
Jeff Bezos to own a football team, like real bad. But he said he's not gonna join the fray for this team. But I really want like Elon or Jeff to own an NFL team, just so I can see like Roger in the meetings have to deal with Elon or Jeff. And then Cherry.
I would love for Elon to be that one.
Oh yeah,
Like, because Elon will just sit there and be like, football. Huh? He's like,
yeah.
can we talk about how we can like automate all these things? Like these referees you guys got.
What if you just
What are we
programmed
doing?
the ball and let it go and it flew to where you wanted?
He's like, you guys know that I like Tesla's my thing, right? I can do this. I put people into space. We got to be able to figure out this instant replay thing, right?
And then while we're talking about NFL and ownership, the Browns owners, the Haslams, got the okay to be 25% owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. So fans of the Milwaukee Bucks, you will now lose forever.
Maybe that will be like the franchise that wins.
Maybe.
I mean, at least for the short term, they've got Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I mean, they've got a star. They got a star that's not known for, what he does in the back rub room.
This is what oh God. Sorry. This is what I love about the Haslams, right? They own Pilot truck stops and the Flying J truck stops.
Mm-hmm.
They have like big deal stake in Tennessee University. Like they have some kind of pool there. They own the Browns and now Milwaukee. Like, how much vested interest can you have in things before you're spread too thin?
Well, right. Ownership interest is different than operating interest or operating controls, right? Like
Yeah, but
they just
like,
get to vote.
that's true. Okay.
It's a little bit different than if the Browns right there, they own and they're also part of their primary owners of the Browns, right?
This 25% cost them 3.5 billion.
Then in 20 years, that will probably be twice that their ownership stake, the way that franchises continue to grow in value.
Yeah, I don't see them losing value at this point.
How does one get a billion, like 3.5 billion? And like, we all know what I do for a living, right? Like, how does one, do you write a check for that? What does that check look like? How does that work?
Well, wouldn't it just be like, I wonder if it's like a loan, but I feel like you can't get a loan to buy a team.
I don't think nobody's giving you a loan for 3.5 billion. I can promise you.
But I have an excellent credit score.
I don't think your annual income would support that loan, Alex.
I just say all this to say that like these guys are playing up there in realms that like the normal human cannot comprehend.
Right. Their deals look like nothing that we would ever be able to touch.
Yeah, we couldn't fathom it.
No. It's like 3.5 billion. Well, where does all this come from? And it's probably like all of these different equity stakes, right?
Yeah.
It's
right.
all of these things that mean nothing to us as regular humans in the day-to-day world. It's like, oh, well, we'll give you, $500 million in these types of bonds over a 20-year period.
Yeah, they're playing with monopoly money.
Right. So,
fair
yeah.
enough.
No, who knows? Who knows how this is going to go down? But it's interesting to see. Anything else in football? Well, spring games now. College spring
I'll go to
games.
College World. So
reviews hasn't happened yet. That's really all that matters. So moving on.
All right, I'm not going to bust on you yet. It's the off season. I watched the Ohio State spring game, and there's lots of trepidation in the world of Ohio State and Columbus. We marched out Kyle McCord as the quarterback. He wasn't the flash in the pan. The announcers had to keep reminding us that, hey, Justin Fields sucked at his spring game. The defense looked fantastic. A lot of our weapons weren't playing. Harrison, Emeka Ibuka, Julian Fleming, they were dressed, but they didn't play. There were some bright spots. Carnell Tate, a receiver, looked fantastic. A running back, I forget his name right off the top of my head. He'll be like running back 4. He looked amazing. The depth at offensive line and defensive line, they looked tired.
You know, big boys got to get into big boy shape. That looks different in the spring than it does in the
Yeah.
fall.
One of the highlights was we let Archie Griffin run a play and he ran the ball.
Score a touchdown.
Yeah, that was cool.
That get on the scoreboard?
Yeah,
Oh.
makes sense, right?
So the spring game score was inflated by a BS
They
touchdown.
needed all the help they could get. The defense was beating the shit out of them. Okay. Some guys that weren't there, Eichenberg, Court Williams, Steel Chambers, all the defensive guys who weren't on that side of the ball, and the defense still looked good. So you kind of got to walk away going, okay, our defense looked great, but did our offense suck real bad? The offense didn't have the weapons, defense didn't have the weapons. So basically it was just like a second string practice.
At least it's the skill positions, right?
Right. But then you got to look at the quarterback position and go, ugh.
But remember, if the best quarterback can only do so much if the people you're throwing to are not getting separation, not getting open, blah, blah, blah. Like you can only expect so much. Peyton Manning could go out there with third stringers in a college team. It doesn't mean he's going to pick them apart.
I feel like the town and the radio is waiting with bated breath to see what that first game in with Indiana looks like. Gonna be rough. Now, I then stayed around for about a half of the Penn State spring game.
Yeah. So the Penn State spring game.
No.
Oh, wait, I don't. You get to talk
I have
about
questions before you even start.
But why isn't he allowed to talk before you
He
start?
can. I have one question, and then I'm done.
First, just so we're clear, I watched the second and most of the second quarter and most of the second half. I did not see the first quarter.
I don't even care about the players. I don't care about James Franklin. I don't care. This is not about the fans. This is literally about the coverage of the game.
Okay. On the Big Ten Network.
On the Big Ten Network.
Okay. Go with your question then on coverage of game before I talk about
Matt Millen.
Oh.
How in God's name? I had to turn the game off, Muff. I could not stand that man's voice.
It's the spring game.
I'm not sure he went to Penn State.
Matt Millen did.
None of you listened to him.
He
shit on everything you guys did.
That's Matt Millen, man.
Like Ohio State, and this is truly Ohio State. Like this is how they roll. Oh, let's pull up this number 1 draft pick. Let's pull up this old school receiver. And it's like happy days. It's homecoming at Ohio State. Matt Millen's up there going, that guy shouldn't have left for the draft. I think he made a piss poor decision. Oh, that guy, it's not really a catch. We're gonna give it to him good spring, but he didn't catch that ball. He shit on the team the entire first quarter.
That's Matt Millen. I don't know what else to tell you.
I would not let him announce another one of those games.
He's an old school guy who
he calls it like he sees it.
Man on the porch.
He is. He's the old guy on the porch. So aside from the coverage, which Jim does not appreciate, Penn State was a defensive struggle throughout the entire game. You have Drew Aller, who's QB1, undisputed QB1. And the biggest piece, they have some receivers coming back. They're definitely going to be in the process of getting new tight ends into action.
Muff.
Huh?
I love Muff.
Why?
You can talk about the tight ends.
Well, let's think about what the tight ends have done for that offense over the past 5 years.
Yeah.
In his defense.
Yeah, and the tight ends are what made that formation that you hated last year run. Jim.
I was going to say.
I know. Keep going.
So the biggest issues that I saw throughout this entire game was offensive line play across the board. Not abnormal that defense has an advantage to offense in a spring game, because typically your offenses, because you have so many pieces, internal scrimmage, you're only running so many plays. You only have so many plays that are ready to go for everybody that knows them. So you're only doing so much. But the offensive line for Penn State was a concern. Defensively, they were flying around. They're going to be breaking in some new receivers, some new skill players. Running backs shouldn't be a problem, but the running backs should only be as good as the the holes that are opened up for them are all across the offensive line. Drew Aller, from what I watched, he missed a couple throws, but again, remember this is going to be his first full season of action. He's not going to
be the starter, in my opinion.
He will be. He's not going to make every throw in the spring game leading up to his first full season as the starter. Going back to what Jim said, Justin Fields in his spring game sucked. So it's a spring game.
Listen,
it's a spring.
You could use that excuse for Drew Aller. That was a viable excuse. Like Justin Fields' spring game, he threw for 98 yards. You know what I mean? Like, sure, it was 4 passes and he threw a bunch of incompletions, but it was still freaking impressive for Justin Fields that day to throw that many yards and just act like he was throwing the ball around. That to me was Drew Aller. Was like he looked like he was meant to be there at the Penn State game.
Right, and he did have the lone touchdown pass like in the game. The lone touchdown. Right. It was 10-0. Right. I will say another area of concern for Penn State right now is the specialists as far as kicking, punting.
Yeah, Ohio State too.
So that's what happens when you get punters to the NFL draft. Like you have to replace them at some point. They're not there forever. So that was my take.
I forgot one more thing. More thing
about the broadcast.
No, this is actually about the Penn State game itself. Okay. My only objection.
This is about James Franklin.
No, I was going to lay off of him this whole time.
That's good.
So Ohio State does scarlet versus gray.
Right.
So it's like red versus white, basically. Okay.
Right.
And the quarterbacks wear black, straight ahead, black.
Mm-hmm.
What color was your quarterback wearing? What color would you say the quarterbacks were wearing?
I think all the quarterbacks were in blue.
You had the blue versus white, and then the quarterbacks were wearing blue-gray.
Sure, I didn't pay that much attention.
Confused the announcers. The first throw of the game, where it was like, "Oh, we almost threw an interception." No, wait, he was actually throwing to his player. The blue jersey is throwing me off because, like, I don't just put him in a black jersey. Just like in between thing, like. I understand he's playing for both sides, but like, let's just differentiate the quarterback.
Just put him in red.
Yellow, I don't care. But Muff,
green.
That gray jersey, it was about it. And I think you need to get your hands on one of them gray jerseys because it was sharp.
The spring game quarterback jersey.
It was that blue gray was about it. I liked it. It was sharp. Yeah.
Oh, no, we'll see.
No, I mean, as far as my take on Penn State and Ohio State, I think Penn State looked legitimate in their spring game. Ohio State kind of looked like baby deer. Like they were still feeling out the kinks.
But you still had so many of your anticipated starters not playing, right?
Still, like you could tell Penn State had a chip on their shoulder when they went out there, like they were playing like grown men. And I think Ohio State kind of looked like we're still feeling out which parts go where. New offensive coordinator Brian Hartline was still kind of playing his game. And then he goes out and rolls a side-by-side. He's in the hospital currently. But he's okay. Wild. But my whole point is I think Penn State's they're going to show real well. Do you know who they play first game?
WVU. Alex, what are you looking forward to most in the WVU spring game? Is there like something you're interested in seeing?
I mean, no, all of it. I think unlike you guys who end up having like, big names, just can we function as a unit? We have a lot of in and out. Garrett Green, I don't know, quarterback play, who's going to play? I'm not really sure.
I'm not really sure.
TBD. I just hope nobody gets hurt and we all have fun.
Is the WVU Penn State game a home and home?
Yeah.
Oh, Muff.
I believe so, right, Muff?
Yeah, I forget if it's a 3-year or 2-year matchup. That's what I forget.
I think it's 2.
Okay.
And
Muff, why are we not making plans to go to Happy Valley in 24 or Morgantown in 24?
I was going to say, why would
it's Morgan? Where's it this year, Alex?
Penn State, Happy Valley.
Penn State.
Yeah.
I hope it's on a Thursday when you play us in Morgantown.
Oh,
'Cause
because oh my god,
we're
I
different.
hope so too.
That's
We're different.
you're
We're
different,
going if
man.
that's the case.
We're different because they're offered penny pitchers downtown Morgantown.
Oh,
I'm
Muff.
going.
Now Muff's got to talk shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I had to start this already.
You should, yeah, maybe Jim should be nice to me and let Muff talk shit.
It's technically a Saturday, August 31st.
Technically a
2024.
Saturday, or it is a Saturday?
I feel like there's
Well,
like
they can change it.
technically,
You know what I
like,
mean? They'll
That's
change it.
oh, I was like, surely nothing technical.
It's scheduled to be.
Like, I'm betting that's probably the best game on that weekend.
Well, with all these schedules coming out where people are playing in conference,
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ohio State will play Indiana, I think, at Indiana. They're not, man. That's not going to be. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's college football. That felt good. That scratched an itch for me. Thanks, guys.
talk about some college football.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into what to chat about next. Get into
Um.
some basketball.
Wait,
Sure. Do we know enough?
hold on. How much do you remember how much this is going back to football for one split second? Do you remember how much were we saying that like Clemson and them spend on recruiting in football?
$3 million on Clemson, and it was like 4 for Georgia.
So a report came out. Mountaineer football program spent $971,000 on it, which I mean they just don't have the money that these other people do. But it is funny. That's nearly double what they spent in 2017 when the team spent $570,000. And then they were
Moving on up, Alex. You almost doubled it.
yeah, we're doing great.
Real quick
Wait,
before we
let's
get out
talk
of
about
before we get
yeah.
out of
Let's talk
football.
about that guy from UCF.
Yeah, that's where I was. Just John Reese Plumlee.
Mhm.
This past Saturday, not only did he get to play a 5 p.m. home baseball game versus Memphis, where he went 2 for 3 with a triple and 2 RBIs. UCF won 12-3. He was then transported directly via golf cart across campus to play in the spring game, where he is the quarterback. And I believe he had a pretty good game there too. I forget what the stats were. I think he had at least 1 touchdown, had like 100, 150 yards. But that's a pretty cool story to, start on the baseball team and then be like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, I gotta go play my spring game now.
It was fun watching all of the fans like react to him running off the field and stuff like the support.
Yeah,
he's gonna be. I'd be so sleepy at the end of the day.
Well, it was funny, right? That it didn't even like take off his cleats, right? He's running around in metal cleats.
Yep.
On the pavement into the football locker room. It's like, oh yeah, now I got to change my clothes. So yeah, that was pretty cool. What else did you have there, Jim? Or was that?
That was it. I think that kid's pretty impressive for doing that.
Mm-hmm. So let's get into some basketball chat.
Sure. I don't know really
It's happening.
About what's going on. Yeah, it's happening.
Today Giannis had to leave the game with a back bruise.
The Lakers beat the Grizzlies.
John Morant had to go out of that game with a hand injury. Anthony Davis went out for a half because he got a stinger in his arm, so he couldn't feel his arm at one point. Went out, came back in. The Lakers did win game 1 against the Grizzlies, and there's a lot of chat in the Western Conference about the Lakers. I think over the last 20, 25 games were the best team coming in. Had figured some things out defensively. We're playing together as a team. The LeBron factor is still there. So the Lakers are not a team that people are, just dismissing in the Western Conference, even though they've had a less than stellar regular season. They had to be part of a play-in tournament. They made their way to the 7th seed, obviously. But yeah, the play-in tournament happened again, right? The LeBron Zion tournament, as we're calling it from the COVID era. We had the Heat get the 8th spot in the East. Forget who got the 7th spot in the East. Whoever beat the Heat in the first game. The Bulls.
Unintended.
Yeah, the Bulls did not make it in. They lost to the Heat in that 8th seed, and then obviously the Lakers are the 7, and I forget who was the 8th in the West. But the Celtics, the number 1 seed in the East, coming through, and they're, I think, the odds-on favorite in the East as the number 1 seed to make it through to the NBA championship. And then in the West, There's just a lot. There's a lot of teams. There's a lot of people that are down on the Warriors. The Warriors did, I think, lost their first game in their series. But yeah, the Mavericks got fined $750,000 for their tanking.
I don't understand still.
Why?
don't either.
Why they did it? So to get, they had a top 10 pick if they finished in the bottom 10 of the conference standings.
So
If they make it into the playoffs, it's possible that they do not finish in the bottom 10 of the
But why
conference
would
standings.
why would you not want to make it in the playoffs?
Because they wanted to make sure they got a top 10 pick.
So they would rather get a top 10 pick than go to the playoffs.
Correct. Well,
I
go to
don't
the playoffs and potentially, yeah. So that was the whole thing, but they got fined $750,000 for that. And even then, right, it's the NBA. That's the lottery balls. So they're getting a top 10 pick, but how many really good players are typically coming out of the NBA draft every year? 5, 6 tops.
Yeah.
So if they get a 8, 9, 10, who are they going to get? Somebody in that bottom tier of the upper level talent. So, but the NBA playoffs will be happening. We seen any craziness happen?
No.
Any low seeds making their way through. What do we feel about the Lakers?
I'll probably.
I think they'll make a run.
What does a run mean to you, Jim? Make it out of the first round?
Oh yeah. For
If-
sure.
If they make too big of a run, I'm gonna be with Jim on the NBA rig thing.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like it'll be like some huge LeBron story.
How about
like I need the storyline. Give me the storyline and explain why.
I don't know. Just
LeBron?
because he's old. Yeah, LeBron. He's getting old, and look at him. He's still doing it.
So it's rigged. Therefore, it's rigged.
You have come up with a way stupider reasons for something to be rigged.
No. There's
Yes.
usually like a red herring that says, hey, or a smoking gun rather, that means, hey, like this is what it is. You don't have a smoking gun other than LeBron's old.
Well, no. If an old quarterback wins a Super Bowl right before they go out, you're gonna be like, oh, of course they let him win one for
Yeah,
you.
of course. Yeah, but has there been any indication that he's done now? You think he'll retire this year?
If he wins a ring, I could see it.
Oh, if he wins the ring and retires, I'm on your boat.
Okay.
I'm on it.
At the end.
But I've not heard.
I'm a Lakers
storyline
fan. I want the
switch.
Lakers to win.
Yeah, me too. But I've not heard a story switch that he hasn't been trying to play with his son.
Yeah. What'd you say, Muff?
I said boo. I don't want the Lakers to win.
Why,
So
Muff?
you're a Bulls
Sorry,
fan.
sorry about it.
Why, Muff?
I don't really invest it overly. I used to when Kobe was still playing. I was like actually into this. I'll watch whenever we get to like the conference finals and the championship round. Until then, I just kind of let them sort themselves out.
I want to see Kevin Durant make a run this year.
Yeah,
I want to see Kevin Durant make a run. I want to see the Warriors click throughout this playoffs. And I'd really like to see Boston make it to the finals just because I think things are just better in the NBA when Boston's involved. If you get an East Coast, west of Mississippi thing going on, I like it.
Muff, what about the 70s? Why Boston? 76ers could do that for you.
Yeah, but I hate Joel Embiid. I'm not a fan. I like Jaylen Brown as far as the Celtics go. Marcus Smart's an interesting personality. Like, there's some characters for Boston that I'm like, oh, I think it'd be fun to see them make it to the finals. Now, what happens there, I don't care.
The Knicks are in there.
Right. I don't name me one player from the Knicks.
Yeah, but Muff, why Boston? Like you just said East Coast. How much farther east? Well, that's true. I'm sorry. Geography beat my ass there.
Say Boston Jim is kind of deep.
I just think Boston fans are like
I don't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Boston
they're
fans.
scum.
You're not wrong, but isn't that part of what we like to see? Is the fans going at each other? I'm not saying like
I don't disagree, but Boston Celtics fans specifically are dog turds.
Speaking of fans in the NBA, did either of you see anything about DeMar DeRozan's daughter in the Bulls' first round play-in game against Toronto, where she was at the game, and this is at Toronto, and apparently there weren't a whole lot of fans there, or it wasn't a packed house, and she was she's like, I think 10, 12 years old, somewhere in that range.
So loud she messed them up.
Yeah, like the Raptors missed like 10, 15 free throws throughout the game, and the Raptors lost by I think 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And then DeMar DeRozan said she could not go to the next game because it was a school night.
Yeah. I saw his press conference. He was like, I said she could go because like she could miss one day, but like the next one, she can't come. And there's school there. I was like, well, that's pretty freaking awesome.
But it was funny because it was definitely part of the game. Like,
Yeah, you could hear it.
yeah, she was pronounced every time. You could hear
Yeah.
her yelling, and it was like
Wild.
a younger child scream. So it was
Yeah.
definitely piercing.
Which
So
I could probably take Z and Tess to a game and really screw things up. That'd be awesome. Tess would be all about it.
so there's some basketball chat. What else we got going on in the sports world, guys?
I don't
There's
know.
not a lot, man.
What other stuff? I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, we should go back and like try to like withhold our comments or review things that happened in the group chat.
We can go back in there.
There's a Jake Paul, Nate Diaz boxing match set for August 5th.
There was
That-
sorry.
I'm about that life.
just because it's a Diaz.
Yep. And then they're trying to get Bones Jones and Stipe into the Garden.
Didn't Jones come out of like his hiding after his matchup? Finally, like he
I
kind of
don't
went.
know.
He kind of went like into full I don't care mode. I'm not talking to anybody, not even to Dana White.
He should. He probably should, because every time he gets like goes to Vegas and gets in trouble, like they should take him immediately from that town, put him in a cave until all the testosterone wears off of his old ass. All right, he's no longer a caveman. He's good to talk to regular people.
It's like the resurrection.
Yeah.
Put him in the cave for a few days and then bring him out.
Yeah.
There was a fake tweet about Aaron Rodgers and his butt rocks. That made me laugh.
That was a good one.
Jim found that. How about this is not good. This would be, the negative and the serious side of being an official. This was in baseball where an umpire was hospitalized and continued to remain hospitalized through at least through Thursday. I haven't seen any updates because he got hit in the head during a relay throw in a Yankees Guardians game.
It was not good.
So I didn't even realize that Nate shared it with the group, and then I didn't realize that he was hurt until later when Nate shared it again with the group about, hey, he's still in the hospital.
Probably had a little bit of a head bleed, especially if he's on the blood thinner.
He was 67.
Degenerate, making it serious.
I'm
Have we talked about the merger of WWE and UFC into one company?
No, I don't think so.
The Saudi discussions.
It's not Saudi.
Isn't that what WWE got bought out by?
No. No.
Who'd
The
they get out?
UFC,
Who did the WWE get bought out by?
the company that owns the UFC.
Well, who's that?
I couldn't give you the actual name of it. But WWE and UFC are one company. How did we not talk about this? We really suck. Endeavor Plan Sports. I think that's the name of it. It's Endeavor, short.
Endeavor Group Holdings.
Yeah, Endeavor Group Holdings. They are the ones that's the group that owns UFC, bought WWE, and they are merging together. And it's going to be like a mega deal.
Doesn't this just add to things being fixed? If you have a parent company that's operating over both of those entities?
You would think. Or you would at least say there's got to be some kind of impropriety somewhere.
But McMahon's still part of creative, right? Because he's always going to have his fingers in there somehow. I know he's had his run-ins.
It's real sketchy. Talk about the wrestling side of it. There's a lot of problems, but He's now worth like $9 billion.
Hey, he should buy the Commanders.
He should. He should. Don't put it past him. He'd be the right guy for the job too.
Well, he hasn't necessarily shown success in the football world,
Yeah, but I mean, he fits Dan Snyder's mold.
but he could definitely screw it up more.
Yeah,
He could make that worse. He'd fix the stadium, right?
yeah.
No,
He'd fire him
you
all
know what
the
they do?
time.
They would travel. They would travel every week to a new stadium.
Damn Ringling Brothers.
He'd be like, "We will play every Monday."
And Russell, no, Vince, not it. At Commanders football.
Like, we'll build 5 stadiums in and around the DMV, and we will switch every other week.
And maybe it'll be a cage match.
Halftime shows will be all new, all exciting, all access, all blood.
I think that's all we got for sports, man. It's a light episode.
It is. Well, sometimes you have that in the off season, but in the future we'll have an Alex movie review, which will always be interesting and fun.
True.
As a reminder, you can follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, sportsstuffw/Jim Amerson Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on.
You wicked little jig.
Do all of the things to keep Nate's airplane in the air all the way to Florida for him to get on that boat that's going somewhere into the sea.
Into the sea.
Into the sea.
Into the sea.
Under the sea. Hopefully not under the sea.
And maybe next week we'll have all the homies back, and you can tell a friend, make a friend, be a friend.